Hello, this is Kinematics Lab 2. So a little bit like the first one, it's just this one's utilizing Excel instead of Python code. Um, so if we go over to the Excel chart, so we have kinematics and then inverse kinematics. So one's doing the servo angle first, and then the other is, or going from the servo angle to the output, and one's going from using the tip of this as the input, so the distance in, and then giving out a servo angle. Due to some hardware issues, because the bearings did not work like bushings like I wanted it to, the servo's kind of binding up, so I'm just going to manually do it. Gives it the same effect. Um, so if we go over to the Excel chart, so let's put the crank angle at 0, or the servo angle at 0. So crank length, if you look at the diagram, crank length is the first arm, so this guy right here. And then the coupler length is this guy right here. And then the slider length would be from the center of this bolt all the way to the very end. And if we go down a little bit onto this, you can also see the formulas that were used for this problem. And then, yeah, the reference chart, if I didn't just mention that. So, all right, so we got the servo angle. So 1 or 0 starts right here. So that is at 0. And distance from the servo. So let's go ahead and measure that out real quick. My device is not long enough, so we are not going to measure that out from that, but we will go distance from the bottom of the stroke, which is right at 70. If I zoom this in real quick for you, it might help you see. So right at 70. And then if we go to this end, you will be able to see that it looks like 1 on here, but that's just because of the camera angle. But from this end, it's sitting right at 0. So if we go back over to Excel, if I grab the right screen, that would help. Bear with me 1 second. Move this down. And then so we type in the servo angle at 180. So we got the, and then none of the other lengths changed. And so we got distance from 0 is at 148, and this one I should be able to actually get with my calipers. So it'll be kind of rough because I don't quite have a center point. But so as you can see, I got 147.91, which is just about right on 148. And then we got distance from the bottom of the stroke, so that should be chilling right at 0, which at your angles looks like 1, but from mine 0. And then distance from the top of the stroke, so that's going from, where were we at, the 70 point all the way down, so that's negative 70. So let's just now try a couple of different ones. So let's go like what is that, 120. Let's try 120, which would be at that particular angle. And then so distance from the servo is 156. So about 155.5. Pretty close. There's a little bit of wiggle room in here because, 3D print it, not everything's perfect. And then what is it? Yeah, so as you can see here, mine's roughly at about 8. This is 8.39. And then let's do 90, or let's go ahead and just do 60. Okay, so 60. So we go to angle 60 right here. We measure the distance to see what our output was. So we got 191.99, and then on our screen it's 191.39. And then if we look here on the ruler, it's about, what is that? Let's say 44. So 43.39. And yeah, so that's the first tool of the kinematics. And then if we go over here to the second tool, and then, so this one kind of does the opposite. So we go, let's say we had a piston on here, and then we wanted to see what the output of the angle was. So we would go length from servo. Let's say, what do we want to do? Let's just start at 60, right where we were at. But that's not actually how this tool works. It's just easier to reference these particular grid lines. So, they're not quite on there. Okay, there we are. Okay. So we got 191.69. Alright. So then we do 191.69, or 67 is close enough. And then our output angle is, we have an output angle of 59. So that checks out. And then let's say we want, let's try doing the 0 mark first, or the 180 mark. Let's see if we can hit that. So length from the servo, and then we got 147.6. 147.6. Enter. Doesn't like that value. Did I measure a little small? Let's try 148. Okay. So, as you can see, we got a degree angle of 180. It just errored out because I was a little bit past it. So, it yeah, you can't make this any shorter. So that's why it would error out. Because that is, yeah, that's the bottom of the stroke. So, if let's do 90 degree. I don't think we did 90 degrees yet. But we're doing the distance, so we're going to measure the distance first and see if we get an output of 90. So, as you can see here, we have 168.8, and then we type it into this what is it? 168.8, and then we get an output of 92. So a little bit off. Could have been a little bit of an error in my measurements, but yeah. So that is my tool for kinematics with the crank slider.